on Bitcoin. I'll look at Bitcoin. I'll just give 1 minute to see if anyone else joins. No sound for me. It says my mic's working. Can you hear me now? Okay. If you can't hear me, just leave and rejoin. That should fix it. It's just Discord. It's a Discord issue, I think, because it usually happens like every other session. But yeah, let me. I'll start with Bitcoin, then I'll get into ETH and Sol, a few other altcoins that I'm looking at, and then I'll look at USDT as well. So some people are saying they don't have sound. It says on my end, yeah, Adura can hear. I'll leave him rejoin 1 sec. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. If you still have issues, just restart your Discord, I think, because I'm not sure what else we could do. Some people can hear me, some people can't. But yeah, I'll get into, oh, let me share my screen. Okay. Wait, Adura, can you still hear me? Let me just check. I'm not just speaking to myself. Okay, cool. Perfect. So let's start with Bitcoin. I'll go over Bitcoin and then ETH and Solana after. So Bitcoin for like from like the 15th of December and to now January has just been in a range between like 86 pretty much and just 90K. So I'm not I like playing ranges, but this range was annoying sometimes because it'd be misleading. It'd be very misleading. Like for example, this low here, I thought we were at least going to take out that low, and we didn't, and we ended up making a new high. So that's why I around here I think I alerted a lighter long, because in my opinion I was gonna go with a Bitcoin long instead, but I thought lighter had slightly more slightly more mind share, and it was just an alt that I decided to long instead of Bitcoin or ETH or Solana. So that's why I alerted, because Bitcoin looked pretty bullish since it had not taken out lows, right? So lows were protected. That was kind of my thought process for that long. And as you can see now, we're essentially back at range highs, right? So if we're still in a range, I'm looking for basically a sweep of 90.3 and 90.6. So roughly that would probably happen either today or tomorrow. In my opinion, in the morning, it looked like it was going to hit today, and that's what I mentioned in my corner. Or, some people are still having issues. hopefully this is being recorded so you guys would be able to listen to it after. But yeah, let me get back to it. Yeah, so I'm watching for an SFP of 90, either 90.3 or 90.6, and I'll probably alert a short and then place my validation, but like above a high, right? Target like the value area high of the, this previous range, or the range we're currently in, I mean. Um, and then I would say that would be an A plus setup for me, in my opinion. That would also kind of like, if we do tap into the 618 or golden pocket area, that's even more like confluence. Here we slightly front ran, so I still think we get a deep retrace into here, and then on like the 4 hour time frame, that would look like a big wick or like a short squeeze type of candle, like like back here sort of thing, where it would have just like a massive wick. That's what I'm sort of expecting here, um, candle structure wise, and then sort of the same thing but on the opposite end. So around value area low, I'd look for a long like here, something along the lines of this. This is now our, by the way, yeah. So the yearly close, right? So we now have new levels to play around with. So yearly open for me is now a very important level of this year, right? So it's 87.6. It's already have what's it called? I mean, the yearly open was literally right here, right? And then we bounced what, like $400 from there, and then retested it. So clearly there are signs of like there's been an important level for traders, right? Since people were bidding here, so there's definitely going to be interest here, this level if we do come back and tag it. But in my opinion, like I want these equals lows swept. To be honest, like that would be like a manipulation candle down, and then a reclaim. So like it would be in like a H4 SFP of this low here, 86.3. Or just make it easy like that, right? We sweep that. I'd probably set an alert for set a limit for a pullback, and then we target above yearly open again, right? So in my opinion, we would probably come to retest this, reject, because people would take profit there. But I don't think this would if we're gonna be have a bullish start to January, this would be sort of the play that I'm looking at. If if this level doesn't hold and we go all the way down back to here, then that doesn't look too good, in my opinion, because then it would be like this was a higher high. We broke structure around. We broke structure here on this H4 candle here. I remember it because we had initially SFP'd that level, right? So there was technically break of structure here, bounced, and then on this candle we closed under that low that created that high. So that is technically when we locally flipped back to bearish, and ever since then we've kind of downtrended, and then we've gone sideways. So my idea would be like, if this level doesn't hold, it doesn't look too good, because then this could be argued as a higher low, and it's not, that high hasn't been taken out just yet. So if we come take out this low next, I mean, I would probably try to catch a limit short um, on like a small retrace, and like target 83.7 and maybe even down here. But in my opinion, even if we do go back to these lows, I don't think that's necessarily like too bearish on the higher time frame. Because look, back here, right, I remember when we made this low at 76, bounced, and everyone was bullish, and then we ended up sweeping that low that we had created at 76, and it just ended up closing as SFP. And I remember back down here, everyone and their mother was bearish, like everyone was saying 50k. Same thing could happen here, right? We could sweep down 78, 79, something like that, right? As a wick, end up SFPing that, and like voila, like we could just begin a new uptrend. That's um, that's very possible in my eyes, right? But if, in my opinion, like we do get like a weekly close under here, then I with no doubt would assume 74 would get tagged. But like my thought process would still be sort of similar to where like I'd be looking for swing longs here. The time for like swing shorts is kind of not gone, but like I don't really see them huge RR like right in the middle. Like this is a range we're in, right? Wait, okay, this looks, there we go. This is kind of a range right now that we're in. It doesn't really make sense to like have stops, all the way to 100k, target 72 for what, like 1 hour. Like I'm not gonna. I don't think that's good RR, in my opinion. If you're if you're talking swing shorts, I'm looking at this level, right, 97. Um, what is that high that I've got? Oh, right, yeah. It's this is a H4 candle that basically we had a action down from like Binance and Coinbase selling, and then so basically we sweep this wick, tag the 7-8, sorry, the golden pocket. Plus that would align also with daily fair value gap plus weekly fair value gap, right? In my opinion, that'd be like such a clean setup, man. So something like this. Wait, yeah, maybe like sweep a little bit higher, fully fill this FEG, then end up just closing as an SFP up here. That's a lot, like that's a short that I would 100% take. Like, and then the invalidation would be, you know, above the high or something. That, in my opinion, is a much better RR trade. I probably wouldn't hold this for new lows. I'd probably cut it at like yearly open. So like for a 4R. At minimum, I would try to you know, make 4R on a trade like that. But yeah, if technically either could work in terms of either golden pocket or 786. They're both like pretty good viable levels. Only thing is, if we go for the 786 and then it's this holds, then we probably get on 107. And if we get 107 at that point, it's like, well, downtrend kind of looks, you know, it looks a lot stronger than what what it looked like back here, right? Like back here, it was just relentless selling, rearranging. It's a bit unclear right now whether this is just sideways for lower or it's accumulation for higher. In my opinion, there's a good chance it's accumulation for higher, but you know, we'll see. I think with the yearly close on USDT, which I'll get into in a minute, I'll explain why I think um, we're still in the clear for a a slightly longer short-term rally, in my opinion. All right, next I'll look at Sol. So yeah, so Sol was definitely, in my opinion, stronger looking than Bitcoin because range highs, right? We finally have taken them. Haven't taken them on Bitcoin. We've got some candle closes above here. So my idea was to short an SFP of this, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get that, right? It's already closed the H4 above. Um, so I was just looking at the chat, sorry. So because of this close, I'm not gonna short. it looks pretty bullish to me. I'd probably be looking at like this high here at 31.76, and I'd also be looking for, in my opinion, if we get the 886 from, I need to adjust this high now slightly. There we go. It still lines up, right? Like 29.13 invalidation below those lows there, and then I'd go break even like after 1 hour, most likely, because if we usually, I notice like once we get good reactions, it's good to go break even after 1 hour. And if it retraces back down, there's a good chance it stops us. So that's why, like, or at least on ETH and Sol, on Bitcoin, you can just not move stops break even as quickly. So that's like kind of, I'm not gonna, I might alert this later on, but I need a bit more of a retrace to like nail in the proper high. Because if I alert this now and like ETH pushes up here, well, I'll need to set a new limit because then fib will, I'll need to adjust the fib, right? And so, yeah, those are my thoughts on ETH. I think it definitely does look a lot stronger than Bitcoin. I won't lie. This was a short that got front ran. I didn't actually. So I alerted this. No, I didn't alert this. I just said it. I spoke about it in the live stream. And what ended up happening was, so I said like, okay, I said, one sec. I said, look, we got a H4 SFP. It looks pretty bearish and it is a viable short, but I said I'm not gonna alert it because I think it's too risky. And it doesn't really matter that I didn't alert it because we wouldn't have gone filled. Like we got front ram and it dropped before we would have even gone an entry. So it doesn't really matter. But I think another analyst shorted here. So hopefully you guys printed off that. I can just delete that because I mean we didn't take it, right? So yeah, ETH is basically, this was here was just like TWAP price action, which should have been a sign like to maybe find a position on the lower time frame, but I wasn't really interested too much in ETH. I was more looking at Bitcoin and Sol. But for a short, in my opinion, the A plus is, in my opinion, is like for a swing would be like a SFP of that high here, 3.6. But we're not gonna get that, in my opinion, anytime soon. So I'd be marking out this high. Let me just look at the H4 structure. Yeah, so H4 structure, right? You can see like high, low, high, still a high, low, right? So ETH still looks pretty bullish to me, more bullish than Sol at least, because Sol, we've already I just showed you, right? ETH made a high, low. No, sorry, ETH hasn't swept this high, low yet. Sol is like it went like way lower than 123. It went an extra 5%. So this could be, in my opinion, on Sol, just a bearish retest. I need to see how this candle closes though. This H4 candle. If this closes bearish, I'm gonna alert short like 100%. This is one of my bread and butter setups, just like H4 SFP. Then you switch to a lower time frame. Find like a mini supply zone after like a rejection, and then we get in on the retrace, right? So something like this, just like impulsive price action downwards, right? So a clean rejection, right? Like something like this, and then lower time frame breaker structure, um, and then that would be like that corrective price action, in my opinion, would be like the entries that I'm usually looking for. you know, this style of trade, in my opinion, works best at like high time frame POIs. So like, you know, daily H4s, H12s. This is like a H4 swing high, so it makes sense to look for shorts here, right? Like you, I alerted this short here, but this was more of a very like tight scalp, right? Swing high. We created a SFP here on the 30 minutes, so this was like a little supply zone. I marked it out. We've got filled. I got filled in my sleep, right? So I woke up and this this filled me right on half risk. Uh, sorry, I got a filled half here, right, or 1R. So the rest got stopped here, and I don't usually TP at 1R, but it was just because I was going to sleep that I set 50% TP at TP1. Oh, sorry, at 1R. So I didn't take a loss on this, but say this had uh, ran like 3R, I would have been pretty annoyed because then I shouldn't like, there was no point of me setting a 50% TP. But there are cases like these, right, where I go to sleep and then it like fills me in my sleep. And if I don't set a TP pretty close to the entry, then it could end up in hitting my stop loss. That's why I mentioned in the post to move stops break even after 1R. And this was a risky trade because it was like a lower time frame local swing high, not like a high time frame swing high. So, but like it still gave a decent move. I mean, very, very tight scalp, right? I was aiming for like this low here, at 123.4. And this aligned with like, you know, 786, 886. So it could have been a nice trade, but clearly Bitcoin was looking a lot more bullish than initially planned. Um, so yeah, those are my lower time frame thoughts and so. Um, for longs, bro. Actually, wait, let me cover this real quick. So I've got a small runner still in this position for this high here. So I TP'd most around like 2.8R, 2.7, 2.8. So I've still got a runner in this. So I'm going to use a small part of those profits to enter a short. As I just spoke, right, either here or here. One of these levels, I want to enter a short. In my opinion, it makes sense to like look for shorts here because also we're at the value area high, or we're above it, but this could just be a deviation, right? And we could just still be ranging. So that's my thoughts on on this coin. And since we've made a new high, we can adjust the new fib and potentially. I think a good scalp play would be set limits for 618. So the idea would be this low gets SFP'd. And that would be around value area low of the volume profile. So a couple influences for here. I'm not going to set limits just yet though. I need to wait for, I want to first attempt to short if we do end up closing this 4-hour bearish. And then, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Also, if you guys have any coins you want me to look at, let me know. I want to quickly cover Lit, which we're up like, so I risk 0.25R, and I do plan to add. I was hoping to get a DCA in at the, like if we had swept this low, I was going to DCA there. So it would have been like close to 1R risk instead of 0.25s. But like I decided to get an early entry here. And good thing I did because then I would be sidelined right now, right? But I think if we get a H4 close above 2.84, 2.85, in my opinion, I want to go break even on the first small risk long, and I look for a re-entry. So something like this, maybe. Uh, wait, like if we get a H4 close above here, then come to retest here, I'd probably settle it, and then I don't know, like I'd place. It's hard to place an invalidation because there's not. This isn't great at like candle structure, but I'd do it tight enough, like here, maybe under this small gap here, and like target like 3.7, and potentially leave a small runner to like new highs, because in my opinion this coin has a lot of mind share right now, whether that's through people bull posting or fudding, right? um I'm not really gonna go too much into the fundamentals, but I mean, I think this is pretty bullish in my opinion. Just the lower time frame price action may not show it as much because this is technically still bearish, but that's why we need the H4 close above here. It's so important we get that because that would indicate BOS, right? So that's what I'm watching for lit. Like technically, this could be a short right here, um, but like I'm not really. If I had risked more on here down here, I would have I would probably open a head short here, but I didn't risk much, so I'm not too bothered in my opinion. I think if you're gonna short, it's gonna be probably up here, way better RR. And yeah, let me talk about BNB as well, because this is actually probably a play that I'm gonna alert. So I need to adjust this real quick. So in my opinion, BNB, it could go up a bit more, but as long as you know the AA6 is around like this, the 50% of this like demand zone, I think that would be an A plus setup for me. Like if it lines up with 786 or 886, either or, I think we get a wick here eventually, and then hopefully we get our free R. I probably wouldn't. I think this is if we do get the setup, it's very very clean. I would not TP at probably. I wouldn't TP at 1R or 2R. I'd just ride it. I would probably go break even at 1R, but I wouldn't TP at 1R or 2R. I'd either ride it to 3R or 4R, depending on like how Bitcoin looks at the time, right? Um, so yeah, I'm probably gonna alert this, not gonna lie, but I'm gonna wait for this to like give a pullback first. So yeah, I'm not alerting it just yet. Um, yeah. In terms of shorts on BNB, mm, we are at like some sort of range high here, right? Let me pull I would say a new range was created here. Yeah, we're above value area low, so it makes sense to look for a short here, especially since we're like, you know, we're in an imbalance range high, so this could end up being an SFP. It makes sense to short here. It would have good RR as well if we do come back down to like the value area low or this wick low here, 822. I'm not sure. Oh, I know why I marked this out. This is the 1010 wick. I was like, what is this? What is this red line on my screen? Yeah, that's the 1010 wick. So there's interest there, right? Buybacks happening there, so that could be a good target for a swing short maybe. But I mean, I need to see how this closes first. It's pumping right now. It looks pretty. I don't know. Right now it looks bullish, but we'll see how the H4 closes. Um. Okay. Let me see. Phil. I'm gonna look at that. It's been a while. This is definitely this is a dinosaur coin, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. 2020. That's pretty dinosaur. All right. Oh, huh. This looks. What? Was there an announcement? Yeah, this looks really good. I'm not gonna lie. Like macro high lows, higher highs. Well, two high highs, right? So, oh man, like if we get, I don't know how this coin trades, but if we pull a fib from that like that local low there that created that high, you know, if this has good interest, like we would see a bounce from 618, something like that. But like I would want a sniper entry on this, right? So I'd aim for 786. Stops probably below that low because I wouldn't want this to get taken, right? If this is still bullish, and target a new high, something like this. Hold up, let me draw a rolling profile because okay, yeah, this is broken out like of the range, like 100%. I can already tell. I would say, mm, I would say it started ranging here, and then it broke out there. So to be honest, we might not even get filled if I was to alert this, right? Value area lows here, which kind of aligns with the golden pocket. Like if we get wick down here and then close above, I would. It's hard to say where I would place entry. Maybe like there. The only thing is like where would I place my stop? Under 886 maybe. If you want like a tight scalp, that would probably be a nice play. Like a 3R play. Because then we got previous value area high, right? It's broken out, so retesting that would be probably give a nice reaction, which also aligns with golden pocket. Plus, this was like kind of aligned. Yeah, it aligns with what's it called, like SR level. Um, hasn't been retested yet, so yeah, this could be. It looks good. It looks good in lower time frame. On the higher time frame though, like this is still definitely in a downtrend. If I just draw a trend line, it like it like it respects the trend lines really well, right? When was that? That was that November 2025. I think I remember. I think I remember this pump because 10th of October happened. Then I remember seeing this massive. Yeah, I remember this pump because there was so many shitcoins pumping back then, and I think this was one of them. So this isn't a coin. I don't know. I don't know if you've brought it as a spot bag or something, but I mean, like RR wise, like yeah, it is good. Like you wouldn't have wanted to buy spot up here, right? It's on these dips that I guess you'd buy on spot to then ride the scam pump and then sell. But I mean, I don't really invest into shitcoins like these, to be honest. I just trade them here and there. But yeah, those are my that's my idea on Phil. You also said Pepe, right? I'll quickly look at Pepe. Actually, wait, should I post that chart? The Phil chart? I probably should, right? Let me see. Oh, this is. Oh my god. There we go. But I posted the wrong chart. Alright, there we go. Phil chart. Now I'll do Pepe. Wow. Yeah, these are. I don't know whether these are correct to move or impulsive. In my opinion, this is more of a impulsive move. So this looks really bullish. I think it makes sense with ETH looking how it is, right? Um, Let me see. Okay, I think I'm looking. Ooh, there's a couple of places I would look for a short, but I mean, in my opinion, it would be like a scalp short, not a swing short. Um, I think this. If I don't know if it would though. Like it dip. Okay, if it dips down back to here, I'd wait to see how it like retraces back because I wouldn't want to set a limit and then like it for just for it to have no reaction and it just blasts through. So I'd be I'm gonna watch this one. I want to set alerts, but like it's hard to set an inval on this one with a tight stop because it's kind of just going like up only. I guess if I go on the very low time frames, I could place it below a local low. But we're so close to like uh, a swing high that like RR wise, it doesn't really make sense to look for a well, a scalp long makes sense, right? But swing long doesn't. So, but I mean, this is great. If you're in a long already, that then perfect. Like I'd probably TP. I probably wouldn't TP until what is it, 633 around here. If we do get that though, and then like SFP is, well, I'm not gonna lie, I would probably look to short that. But like also I would look at ETH whilst whilst I would take this setup. Like if ETH looks like it's gonna skyrocket even further, like if ETH closes above a swing high, and this doesn't, I probably wouldn't take this short just because I think ETH would go high and this short would probably get obliterated. But you know, it's just an idea for now. We'll see when we actually get there. And in my opinion, you could argue like, mm, to be honest, this was not a range until like I don't know, like here. Similar to Phil, to be honest. Like this was just chopping. This was kind of like a fake out, and then now we have like the massive move up, impulsive move up. So yeah, like I guess it is some sort of somewhat sort of a similar setup to Phil, right? So value area high retest somewhere around here. As long as it's like, you know, somewhere close to it, right? Somewhat close to it. Like I'd say that's close enough for a VAH retest. And it aligns with 618 or 65. I would look to yeah, this would be a good scalp long for me. Maybe right in the 50% of it. I guess you could argue it is some sort of a SR, but it's I wouldn't call it an A plus setup because it's an awkward spot to place validation. Like technically, true inval is here, but that's too wide of a stop. Um, so I guess for like a scalp play, you just maybe wait for it to SFP then you long, on like the lower time frame pullback with your stops at like below that low. That would probably make more sense than just leaving limits here because I wouldn't know where to place the stop. So yeah, that's my lower time frame thoughts on Pepe. I'm probably I'm most likely not gonna. I wanna have an alert, but I definitely won't set limits for this. I'd actually rather wait to see a reaction first and then potential retest after um, of that level. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions or any other charts you want me to look at. I'll quickly go over UCT dominance as well because I haven't done that. Right, UCT dominance, right? So there's a couple reasons why I'm bearish on this chart, which would mean that I'm still bullish on crypto, right? So in my opinion, right, the places to be macro bearish, but like lower ends of the spectrum, right? These were places to have been bearish. This was like March Feb top last year. No, sorry, 2 years ago now. I thought it was 2026. Feb top of 2024, right? This was Trump top here when he announced tariffs. Markets just had a massive pullback. This was also a place to get bearish. Here, here we had, what was it? We had a consolidation, right? And then we got more like another tariff threat from Trump, and that was caused the that's what caused the 1010 crash. So, in my opinion, we're seeing sort of similar structure here on the weekly in terms of like consolidation, right? Um, Now, I would not want to spend much time here in January. I would hate for this month to be like rangy. I'd rather I'd rather the markets just pick a direction. I right if we get a close above here, oh sorry, below here, I'm pretty confident we'd get a move to 5.1, and that would be a nice relief rally. And then like around here, I would look for swing shorts, like I mentioned earlier, something like this towards that swing low here and the golden pocket. I'd look for um, I'd look for a swing short there on Bitcoin. I think that'd be A plus, right? Taking out that swing low, 618 plus that would probably be there would be a couple other confluences that I would use on the Bitcoin chart as well. Um, let's see here. Another confluence is like we do have like a weekly SFP here of this high, right? This high also swept here. So the low sorry the high from April 2025, we've already closed above that. So there's arguments to be made why you should be why people would be bearish here, but the high that in my opinion more important is this one, and we haven't closed a weekly above that yet. So until we do, I'm looking for you know I guess swing longs here, but it would make sense for me. It would make sense to me, sorry, if we do sweep that high one more time. If we do get that, then Bitcoin probably sweeps the low again, and that's what I mentioned earlier, right? Weekly SFP, people would get like at the top of the wick, people would be super bearish, and you know that would be, in my opinion, not the place to be bearish, right? And then the confirmation would be the weekly SFP. So something like this. I'd update you guys on this if this plays out. I'd let you know what I'm buying and what's and so forth. Um, and yeah, in my opinion, if this year we do get a chance to come back down here, I think this is the place to sell, like down here. But I'm not too sure. I don't I don't think I think this is a place to be bearish on USDT, even if you think we don't hit new all-time highs and we just get a higher low. It's still a place to. I wouldn't be looking for swing shorts like just right here in the middle. I would look for extremities like here or even down here. So here would be like 97k Bitcoin, in my opinion, if we get here. Around there is when it would be around 98, 97. Down here would probably be like 105 to 107. And if we get below there, that could be like, the dead cat, whatever, dead cat bounce. But yeah, like if we do end up taking this low, potentially see new all-time highs. But I don't know. That's too far ahead. So my bias for January at least is bearish on USDT dominance, which means I'm bullish for Bitcoin. I think too many people are bearish here. Like, don't get me wrong, I will short at certain levels. I just don't think the swing short is here, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and we do end up coming back down and making a new swing low, but I have no reason to believe to see that. No, sorry, I have no reason to see that at this current time. So yeah, um, if you guys don't have any more questions, I need to go head into a meeting in around 5 minutes. So I'm gonna analyze one more indicator, which is total as well, before I go. Yeah, of course, man, no problem. This was, I'll quickly go over this and then we'll cut it here. So this is another reason why, like, it makes sense to look for swing longs, um, at least around the area we're in, because every time we've tapped this, like, you know, even back here, like, you could argue this was one, right? Look, we bottomed here at the 786, right? But it was a weekly S&P. This was what was this? Yen carry trade. That's what it was caused by in 2024. This dip here, tariffs. This dip here, well, I mean, it wasn't like the reason why we started this downtrend, in my opinion, was like people were just giga risk offing from. It was, in my opinion, the downtrend started after the October 10th like crash, which was initiated by Trump. But people just kind of, I felt like people lost faith in crypto. So, but that's been, in my opinion, over like is we're too overextended to not have a decent bounce hit. So, technicals say we're due for a bounce, and fundamentals, in my opinion, also say we're due for a bounce. So it makes sense to, you know, this is not the place to be hyper bearish, in my opinion. Again, I could be wrong, not financial advice, but you know, we're here, man. Like this bottom here in November was the 786. If we do end up SFPing that, I think that's the trigger, like the perfect confirmation. We saw it back here, and we saw it here as well. So, you know, that's what I'm looking at right now on this chart. I think it's interesting. Also, SFP at this high and SFP at this high. Weekly SFPs are so underrated, in my opinion. Like you could just trade off of them if you wanted to. Like combine it with other confluences and like, I mean, I think you'd be very profitable. Obviously, it's not 100% win rate, right? But you know, in my opinion, it's a really good like confirmation tool to have candle structure wise, right? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Um, Hope you guys have a good evening and a good rest of your week and happy New Year because last time I streamed was in 2025. You know, I've not streamed until I think it's been what 3 days, but yeah, technically it was last year that we was the last time I streamed. So hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm excited to keep cooking with you lads. You know, I'm still pretty new in Unelite, right? I joined in December. December was definitely the slowest month for me in the year, so I'm hoping to rectify that. At least it wasn't a losing month, which you know a lot of traders can't say because December was just pretty much chop. Um, but yeah, I'll stop yapping now. I'll see you guys later, right? Take care. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.